Okay, class, we will continue this lecture from where we left in the last class. And basically, we were solving, there was one question actually that in case of symmetrical section, we were considering the neutral axis, or when the loads are acting exactly on top of the symmetrical section, we were considering the horizontal axis as our neutral axis. But in the question that we were solving, there was this L section, and in this section also the vertical load was acting. But in this case, we were not considering this as our neutral axis. So to answer this question, first thing is that the neutral axis is the one at which stresses are zero. Okay, and there is no such concept of horizontal or vertical axis for the case of neutral axis. It can be an inclined axis, it can be a perpendicular axis, it can be a parallel axis. Now, why is that? Let's look at this example of symmetrical axis. In the case of symmetrical axis, when the vertical load is acting, the bending is being produced, and the vertical load also on the principal axis, it acts on the principal axis, the bending is being produced around the horizontal axis. Now this horizontal axis is the centroidal axis, axis of symmetry, but most importantly, it is also the principal axis. So now since it is a principal axis, so we know that this bending or flexure formula will be valid automatically for this symmetric section. So when the bending is being produced, so now in this beam we have a symmetrical bending, or the bending produced around one of the principal axis, on around only one principal axis, and we have this flexure formula valid. Now let's look at this axis. So if I show you mathematically, neutral axis is the one on which stresses are zero. For this axis, what is y distance? Can anyone tell me this? Anyone? So what will be the y distance for this axis if I want to calculate, let's say, stresses at any point or at point over this axis? So the y distance will be zero, right? So this y distance is zero, so that means the stress will be zero at this neutral axis. So this is why, or this was the reason that we have taken this horizontal axis as our neutral axis in the case of symmetric section. Now let's look at the example of this L section. Now in this case, although the bending is being produced around this horizontal axis or around this perpendicular axis as well, but in this case, this horizontal axis is not principal axis. So what does this mean? That our bending equation or the flexure formula will not be valid for this axis. So we have to find out the principal axis first, and for example, if these are the bending moment, we have to find out the principal axis and resolve this bending moment onto these two principal axes. Now after I resolve this bending moment onto the two principal axis, I will have separate flexure formula for each of the two axes. In this case, or symmetric section, I only had one principal axis. So in the case of unsymmetrical section, I have two principal axes on which bending is taking place. So I will have two cases or two flexure formulas valid. So for this one, I can say that that this is the neutral axis for, let's say if I call this as y-axis and this as z-axis. So for y-axis, I have this as the neutral axis, this one, and for z-axis I have this one as a neutral axis. Now I have two neutral axes, but if I consider the combined effect, or if I apply the combined equation for the two of them, I will have another axis that is an inclined axis, or the resultant of these two axes basically, on which the bending stresses are zero, and that is our final neutral axis on which stresses due to the movements on two principal axes is zero. In this case, the stresses was only due to one principal axis movement, but in this case the stresses are due to two movement at principal axis, and therefore the neutral axis is a bit different from that horizontal axis. So is there any confusion about this question? You can ask me again. So if not, we can move on to our question back.
Sir,
Yes,
in case of unsymmetrical section,
yes.
the neutral axis also coincide with principal axis.
In case of unsymmetrical axis, what do you
Unsymmetrical,
think? Yeah, what do you think?
unsymmetrical, unsymmetrical sections,
Mm-hmm.
the neutral axis coincide with principal axis.
What do you think?
न्यूट्रल एक्सिस जोन से है और वो उसके साथ कोइंसाइड कर जाएगा प्रिंसिपल एक्सिस के साथ.
What do you think? Can you answer this question? Think about it. So in case of unsymmetrical, just like I told you just now, for unsymmetrical section, let's say these are some radial axis, and these are my principal axis. So neutral axis is somewhere. I will have two neutral axes separately. If I consider that only one bending moment is acting, that is on this axis, then I will have this axis as the neutral axis. This one, this principal axis as the neutral axis. If I say that this load is not acting or this bending moment is not acting, only this bending moment is acting, then I will have this principal axis as the neutral axis. But if I have both of these moments are acting at the same time, then I won't have these two as my neutral axis. I will have another third axis, which is basically the resultant of these two axes as my neutral axis. So it can coincide or it cannot coincide. It depends upon number of bending moments you have on the principal axis. So for the unsymmetrical bending, we usually have two bending moment on principal axis. So it won't coincide with the principal axis. Have you got it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we were solving this question, and there was another question that why we were taking this uh, direction of neutral axis as counterclockwise. So initially, we have to assume the direction of neutral axis by ourselves. So I can assume it in the counterclockwise direction. I can assume it in the clockwise direction. If I assume it in the clockwise direction, it would be something like this one. Or let's say, if I assume it in the clockwise direction, it would pass through the center something like this one. But why I didn't consider that direction is because in the formula that we derived, which was also in our slides. So because in the formula we derived, we knew that the orientation of beta or this angle beta is when this orientation is in the clockwise direction, then we have to take it as the positive. Sorry, I have to say that. In this question, we assume this direction as clockwise. So why we did that? Because in this case, as you can see over here, that this orientation is positive if I consider the angle with respect to the principal axis to the neutral axis in the clockwise direction. So here there is one point that I want to clarify, that in the case of symmetric section or in the case of derivation, we were considering this angle. Actually, this axis was not the horizontal axis only. This axis was principal axis basically. So in this case, and this angle was beta. So in this case, we also have taken this angle beta with respect to the principal axis. So obviously, you may get confused that in the derivation that angle was with respect to the horizontal axis, and why not we have taken this angle as beta. But the reason was that horizontal axis was also the symmetrical axis or the principal axis in case of symmetrical section. So again, we have to take all these angles with respect to the principal axis. So the angle that we have taken was beta. So the formula was tan beta is equal to Iz over I by tan of theta. So Iz we computed was 19.9, Iy was 3.54, and tan of this angle theta of this moment was with respect to the principal axis again was 23.4, and the direction of this angle with respect to principal axis in this example was clockwise. So that is why I have taken this as positive, because in this derivation, if you see, our assumption was that this direction of this angle theta of principal axis of the moment with respect to principal axis was clockwise. So that is why I have taken this clockwise direction as positive, and I have got this answer as 68. Now, if this answer was negative due to some of the reason, let's say this angle was negative, or then the answer would have come out as negative, then I would say that my direction was wrong and I have to plot it in the counterclockwise direction with respect to this principal axis. So I would plot my neutral axis somewhere over here with respect to the principal axis. So now this angle came out to be positive, and this is the orientation of neutral axis with respect to the principal axis. But in the question, I think it was asked to calculate the angle between the neutral axis and the horizontal. So what will be the angle of the neutral axis with respect to horizontal? Anyone?
So 68 minus 23.8.
Yeah, this is the angle. So this will be 68 minus this angle as 23.4 or 8 it is. So this angle with horizontal was 44.2 degrees. So I have solved the first part of question, that was to calculate the inclination of neutral axis with respect to the horizontal axis. So any confusion up till this point? Okay, so in the next step, it was asked to calculate the maximum bending stress in the beam. So we have already calculated the maximum bending moment in the beam, that was basically 12 kV. So to apply the bending formula to compute the bending stresses, obviously we have to transform this moment into two principal axes. So this was my cross section. These are the centroidal axes, and these are the principal axes, and this was the maximum bending moment of 12. This angle is given as 23, and this axis is Z and this axis is Y. So if I resolve this moment into two components along the principal axis, I am going to get what will answers quickly. So MZ will be 12 cos of 23.8, and MY will be 12 sine of 23.8. So what is MZ? Anyone? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think there was an internet problem. So now I was telling you that we have already figured out the maximum bending moment, and we have to resolve this bending moment onto true principal axis to compute the bending stresses. So this was my cross section, and this is the maximum bending moment of 12, and these two Z and Y axes are the principal axis. So what will be my MZ? which is the component of moment on Z principal axis. So that is 12 cos of 23.8. And what is the answer? Can anyone tell me this?
10.98.
10.98 kips inch. And what is my?
4.84.
So that is 4.84 kip inch. So now I have this moment. So I have to figure out that where should the maximum bending stress exists. That is sigma is equal to my over I plus mz over I, or it is minus basically. So it would exist at a maximum distance from this point. Basically, it is a trial and error procedure, but for this L section, you can look at the dimensions and figure out that the maximum or the point which has a maximum distance from this centroid or this centroidal axis is somewhere over here. In the case of L section, you can figure out by just inspection, but in the previous cases of I think I sections or some other cases, we have to do the trial and error procedure. So for this one, we will just simply move on to this B point. And again, we did one derivation in the previous lecture as well to calculate the inclined distances of this point B with respect to the principal axis. These two inclined distances.
सर
Yes.
सर ये रिपीट करके आपने बी कौन से एक्सिस के हिसाब से लिए
I just took B point random. B point as the point which is at maximum distance from this horizontal centroidal axis. That is Z dash axis. Okay.
ओके सर
So now I will convert this. Now I know from my geometry that these two distances or these vertical or horizontal distances, but I need the distances perpendicular to my principal axis. So I will use the two formulas that we developed in the last class. So from this figure, you can see that the distance of point B, my point B was over here. So the distance of point B with respect to or on y-axis, actually it is y dash axis. So I can say that yb dash is equal to minus 4.02 with respect to my vertical axis or straight vertical axis. This is y dash axis. So the distance with respect to this y dash axis of point B is minus 4.02, and the distance with respect to this z dash axis, I can call it as z dash B, will be, I know this whole distance has 0.981 and this thickness has 0.5. So it is also in the negative z dash direction, so it will be minus into 0.981 minus 0.5. So what is this zb dash distance? Yeah.
It's minus 0.481.
So this distance is minus 0.481. Okay. So let us move back to this question. So the distance yb dash was minus 4.02 inch and zb dash is equal to minus 0.481. Now to calculate the distance perpendicular to the principal axis, we have developed the formula for yb that was, let's look it from the slides. This formulation yb dash cos of theta plus zb dash sine of theta. Yb dash cos of theta plus zb dash sine of theta. And this angle theta was the angle of this horizontal axis of this principal axis with respect to the horizontal axis. Now this angle we computed was 23.8, similar to the moment angle. So let's say this yb dash is minus 4.02 cos of 23.8 plus zb dash is minus 0.481 sine of 23.8. So what is this YB distance now? So for ZB, we had the formula ZB dash cos of theta
minus 3.87.
minus YB dash sine of theta. So YB distance is minus 3.87 inch. So what is this ZB distance now? ZB is equal to minus 0.481 cos of 23.8 minus what is YB dash, that is minus, so it will be plus 4.02 sine of 23.8. So ZB will be, what is the answer?
Minus 0.43.
Minus 0.43. Can anyone else confirm this?
1.18.
Yes, it is 1.18 inch. So now I have the distances with respect to both of the principal axes, and if I want to calculate the stresses, I have this formula that is My ZB over Iy, and it is the same formula that we use in the case of symmetrical section, that you put in the negative sign with respect to the stress component of horizontal principal axis. So my horizontal principal axis was Z, so I have put in the negative sign with that one, and these distances are the perpendicular distances with respect to the horizontal axis. So My we calculated as 4.83. This ZB was 1.18. Iy was 3.546 minus this MZ again was 10.98. YB we just calculated, that was minus 3.87 minus 3.87, and IZ was, I think we calculated it somewhere. So IZ, like we calculated over here, was 19.974. So we'll substitute this value into this equation. So sigma B, what would be sigma B?
3.74.
3.74 inch. So this is the maximum bending stress that will occur in this L section due to a unit load or due to a load of 1 kip which was acting at the center. Now this is how you compute the bending stresses in case of unsymmetrical sections. So only difference between symmetrical and unsymmetrical section was that all the procedures, all the sign conventions were same. The only difference was in the case of symmetrical section, we usually have the principal axis coinciding with the symmetrical axis. But in this case, these principal axes are at inclined angle with respect to the horizontal axis. So for these inclined axes, first thing is you have to figure out what are the second moment of inertia, or what is the you can do that from the section table by using the radius of gyration, or maybe if it is given to you directly. And the second difference was you have to compute these perpendicular distances, and you can do that by using the two equations that we have already derived in the previous lecture, and we have used them there now. And all other steps are similar to the ones that we did for the symmetrical sections. So this basically concludes our topic of unsymmetrical bending. Now you will be able to solve that assignment problem that I have given to you and I strongly advise you to do it by yourself. Do not copy, because this is very important topic, and important topic. And another thing is that this is a confusing topic. So as much so you should practice as much as you can, and it will make you perfect in this question. So if you have any more question, you can ask me now. If not, then this lecture is finished.
सर हम ये जो डेरिवेशन है हम ये किसी पॉइंट के लिए भी ले सकते हैं जो वाई बी और जी बी की डेरिवेशन हमने की थी.
Yes, that is the reason that we did this derivation. We can do it for any point, but just keep one thing in mind, that be careful about these uh, sign notations. These sign notation for yb dash should be negative if they are in the net. For example, if my point is somewhere over here, then this yb dash would have been positive and zb dash would also be positive. So these sign notation will automatically give you the correct answer. And also the sign of this angle theta. For example, let's say if I have another axis or another section for which my principal axis was somewhere over here, like this was my principal axis, this is the y-axis and this is z-axis. So in this case, if you see that the orientation of this angle theta or this principal axis with respect to the horizontal axis was clockwise. Okay, so in this case I will take this angle as negative 23.8. Here I have taken it as positive because with respect to the horizontal axis, it was in the counterclockwise direction, and in the derivation we took counterclockwise as positive. So here it is in the clockwise direction. So if you face such kind of a beam where the angle is clockwise with respect to horizontal, you have to put in the negative sign. So these signs are very important to remember. Is there any other question?
सर ये जो फ्लेक्सर फार्मूलाज में हमने ये मूवमेंट्स वगैरह लिए हैं, ये वाई और
Yes.
जी एक्सिस इसको रिस्पेक्ट से लेंगे हम इंक्लाइन
These moments are with respect to the principal axis. So just keep this thing in mind. With
प्रिंसिपल
respect to
एक्सिस पॉजिटिव
these two principal axes y and z.
यस
So if both of them are acting obviously in the positive axis, so if this moment was obviously in some other direction, let's say if I resolve it and one of my moment was in this axis, then obviously we have to consider the sign as well, just like we did in the case of symmetrical bending. Okay. Any other question?
Sir,